Well, happy holidays, E3. And ho, ho, ho. Are there any other Santa Claus in the room? There's one over there. So, what is the theme for today? What's the name of the theme? Standardization. Well, I view standardization as mindful, organized thinking and behavior that lead to a predictable and hopefully high outcome result. So what are the key words? The key words is thinking, behavior, and outcomes. So what is that? It's really the law of attraction. Bill talked about that. So what you think about and you give attention to, eventually you'll act out. That's the behavior part. And every behavior and set of behaviors is going to yield an outcome. So the nature of the outcome starts with what you think about. So let's look at behavior through the eyes of Santa Claus, standardization, and what that looks like. So I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Question one, and there's really only one question, but there may be multiple answers to it. What does Santa Claus ask little boys and girls, or big boys and girls, when they sit on his lap? What are some of the questions? Wait a minute. One at a time. What is it?
We did.
What?
Have you been good this year?
Yeah, have you been good? Right. What else?
What do you want?
What do you want for Christmas? Right? So there's a tie-in, isn't there? There's a behavior and a reward. So I'm going to label this, so back in my years, it wasn't as nice as, have you been a good boy or girl? It usually, back 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, 6, 7, yep, that's it, 77 years ago, it was, are you naughty or nice? So, do you remember that? Okay. So we're going to be looking at this too. So think about what the world would be like if we were all nice. What would the outcome be? So, do you get better outcomes when you're naughty or nice? What is it? Out loud. What is it? Nice. Do you feel better about yourself when you're naughty or nice?
Nice.
Sometimes. For a while. Okay. Hey, it's Christmas. We'll have some fun, right? And do you bring out the best in other people when you're naughty or nice? Nice. Right. And bringing out the best in other people is not only in a family situation, it's also in an Allen's food situation and in your company when you rely on other people to do standardization with processes and procedures and all the other things that they need to do. Does that make sense? Good. So what I'd like to do is move on to a model that shows the many faces of standardization. There are many, many faces. I'm going to show you 3. And I'm going to focus on the one that Santa likes. So on your tables, I would like for you to look for what's on the screen. It says peak performance. These are 3 faces. I'm going to go very quickly through that, and then I'm going to go through 2 examples and take some questions and answers. On the top, do you all have it? Good. This is something for you to keep, maybe as a visual reminder, as an anchor for you. So on the top, it's the why we do things. So, without vision and goals, why would we even get up in the morning? Why would we go to work? So if we have a compelling vision and goal, we get excited, we get up, and we do our things. Otherwise, life becomes meaningless. So vision and goals is another face. Another big one, and it is huge. It's what we do. And Tom is going to, I believe, give some of the best practices in his company, the standardization of best practices that yield great results. And this is important too, because without action, you're not going to get the outcomes that you want. However, if all you do is do, what are you? I think you might be a robot, a zombie. But we all have hearts. And we have our goals and our dreams. So that's important to calibrate and standardize as well. Now, the one on the right, I call it the naughty or nice model. And it has to do with the values that we hold. There are high road values and low road values. And associated with any value, there's a set of behaviors. You're bound to act on and act out on that which you value and give truth to and how you view the world. And for every set of behaviors, there's an outcome. There's a naughty outcome, and there's a nice outcome, and of course, points in between. So let's move on to some examples really quick. This is the naughty model. Now, this is not a Santa. This is not a Santa value. I guarantee you that. And there are many others, and I only choose it because you have the gift of contrast. And I'm going to take, coincidentally, I had no idea you were going to do scarcity. And you had no idea I was going to do scarcity. Unless you cheated and were naughty. It could be. This guy can be very, very sneaky. So very simply, and I'll go through this only as an example, and there are many other naughty values. I chose scarcity because I think really it's prevalent in most of us. I know it has been for me growing up in the Depression years. And it's taken a lot of years to shake that. So basically, the thoughts behind scarcity is there's simply not enough to go around, and I have to get mine. I have to get my fair share. So what are the behaviors? So you focus on your needs, your selfish needs. You may tend to be competitive, inflexible, manipulative, controlling, uptight, and maybe distrustful of other people. So what do you get for that? What else can you get? You're stressed out. You tend to stress other people out. You have fragile relationships and limited success. What else could you possibly get if you believed that and acted that out? So the good news with this is even though you may be embedded very heavily with this, as an example, there's an escape path. And this model here is very scientifically based and based on practical neuroscience, which I've been working in for over a quarter of a century right now. So let's take the other example, and then we'll take some Q&A, and then I'm going to give you Santa's challenge. So here is the opposite of scarcity. What is it? Can you read it? Yes. Abundance, right. That feels a lot better, doesn't it? So abundance says there's more than enough to go around. And if you think that out, that's truly the case. There's more than enough to go around. What are the behaviors? When you know that, you focus on other people. You focus on your customers. And you know that if you take care of the customer, the relationship will yield a reward for yourself. But the whole shift is different. From me, wonderful me, to you, wonderful, wonderful you, who I care about and who are trying to serve. So you get the idea of the behaviors. Relaxed, adaptable, friendly. And what are the outcomes? Everyone wins. How can they not win? That's a nice behavior. Unlimited success potential, sustainable relationships, and trust. I'll field questions. Now that's a first. Yes, Bill.
This seems to be an obvious, simple solution.
It is.
Right? Why don't we use it?
Why don't we use it? Programming. I mean, look at the television. Look at the ads. The constant bombardment of pharma ads, of making you sick, thinking sickness. The constant bombardment of what's going on with ISIS, and that it's going to affect you in our hometown. So we have been programmed for so long to believe in a certain way that creates underlying values that we play out, and we get different outcomes. So all you need to do, very, very simply, is change your mind about what you're going to think about, act out the behaviors, and your whole world will change. Yes?
So, Steve, you said you grew up.
Is that Mark?
That's Mark.
Hello, Mark. Happy holidays to you.
You said you grew up during the Depression era, which I give what, 35?
Well, the tipping point was I was sick and tired of being sick and tired about talking about being broke, and I realized the more I talked about what I didn't want, the more I got of it. That process took over 50 years to get to, by the way. So yeah, but you're faster, and I'm trying to fast forward you. So I'm trying to do it in 15 minutes, but it took me nearly 77 years to do. So I got thinking, well, what is this idea about the law of attraction? You know, just might work. You know, maybe it's something to it, even though we teach it. So I'm thinking, well, why don't you start practicing it? So I got thinking about the outcomes I wanted and what the behaviors were, and I started doing it, and everything shifted. And everything I apply it to today shifts almost instantaneously, and sometimes it takes a day or two to see some results. And sometimes, so I know it works. So if I can do it, if this old Santa can do it, you young Santas can do it. Yes, John.
I just want to give a personal reference to what he was just talking about. What you say, I think.
It is. It truly is the law of attraction. You know, there's a lot of metaphysical stuff around it that can turn you off, push you back from it. But when you look at it, just in terms of practical common sense, it makes total sense. What you think about, you give attention to. What you give attention to gets stronger because of neuroplasticity. You're building up those memories, and then you act out those memories, and those memories and behaviors give you outcomes. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. Way too much, I know. So I'm a monument to the obvious. So here's Santa's challenge. So what I'd like you to do is to think about Santa Claus maybe as a visual metaphor for you. Think about being nice. Think about a conversation you want to have with Santa. And perhaps the way to get started is think about the life that you want, not the life that you don't have, because you keep thinking about that. Well, guess what? So you want to think about what you want. You can do that by talking it out, putting it down, and writing. I think writing is important. You can put together a vision board or a dream board, go to a magazine, cut out pictures of things. It really does work because you're reprogramming yourself. You want to override. So no matter how negative the programming that you have, no matter how screwed up you were or are at the moment, and how you had a terrible childhood, and how this happened and that happened, and we all have those stories, you know, the pity patty parties, you know. You know, you can give it up right now, and you can't stop remembering it, but you can override it with a new program, and it's a higher road program. So you just raise the bar on. So you know, if you're a bank robber and you feel bad about it, work on to be a pickpocket. You know. So raise the bar, think about the outcome that you want, what the behaviors are, and start to practice it, and it overrides it, and I guarantee you, it'll change your life. It'll be a nice behavior. You'll be pleased. Your friends will be pleased. Santa will be tickled, silly, And I'm going to leave you with my mantra, change your thinking, change your life, and thank you very much.